Caribbean, our island nations. There are 13 independent countries in the Caribbean. Some of those countries are a single island, while other countries consist of several islands. Some of the islands belong to other nations, including the United Kingdom, France, the Netherlands, and the United States. Land and water. The islands of the Caribbean Sea are divided into three main groups: the Bahamas, the Greater Antilles, and the Lesser Antilles. The Bahamas is a group of over 700 islands. People inhabit only about 30 of the Bahamian islands. Some of the Bahamas are the largest islands of the Caribbean, called the Greater Antilles. The Greater Antilles include the large islands of Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and Hispaniola. The rest of the Caribbean islands form an arc that stretches from Puerto Rico to the coast of South America. This group of smaller islands is known as the Lesser Antilles. The islands of the Caribbean are very different. Some of the islands are mountainous. Others are flat as pancakes. Some are covered in tropical rainforests. Others are dry desert. Some began as coral reefs, while others began as undersea volcanoes. Cuba, the largest island, is more than 500 miles across. Some of the other islands are less than 1 mile across. The highest mountain range in the Caribbean, the Cordillera Central, stretches all the way from Cuba through the island of Hispaniola to Puerto Rico. Most of the mountain range is underwater. Many of the islands in the Caribbean are actually the tops of the Cordillera Central, reaching above the ocean water. These islands all have mountains in the middle. Some of these mountains are volcanoes, and the beaches have black sand from the volcanoes. The tallest mountain in the Caribbean is the Pico Duarte, which is in the Dominican Republic. Pico Duarte is 10,164 feet high. Tropical rainforests are found on many of the Caribbean islands. The largest rainforests are on Dominica, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. Each year, more than 100 billion gallons of rain fall on Puerto Rico's El Yunque rainforest. It rains about 4 times a day. The rainforests contain many plants and animals found in few other places in the world, such as the coqui, which is a tiny tree frog, often no bigger than 1 inch. The Caribbean has many coral reefs, covering 20,000 square miles. Reefs circle many of the smaller islands, including Aruba, Bonaire, Antigua, and the Cayman Islands. One of the largest coral reefs in the world is the Bahamas. Although coral looks like it's made of rock, it is actually a colony of millions of tiny animals called polyps. They feed by filtering plankton from the water. The coral polyps attach to rocks and other solid underwater formations, such as shipwrecks. Hard shells protect the coral polyps, and it is these shells that give a reef its stony appearance. While the beaches on the volcanic islands have black sand, the beaches on the coral islands have white or pink sand. The white sand is formed by green parrotfish. Parrotfish feed on the algae that live inside the coral polyps. To get to the algae, the parrotfish must scrape away at the live coral with its parrot-like beak and swallow pieces of the hard coral skeleton. As the hard coral passes through the parrotfish, it is crushed into small pieces by additional grinding teeth in the fish's throat. Eventually, the coral is excreted by the parrotfish as small grains of white sand. One parrotfish can produce a ton of soft white sand each year. Pink sand is formed by tiny red organisms that grow on coral reefs. These organisms fall to the ocean floor when they die, and their red shells are broken up by the surf into fine, soft pink-colored sand. The Caribbean Sea itself is one of the largest saltwater seas on the planet. Its deepest point is the Cayman Trough, between the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. At 25,220 feet below sea level, this trough contains the world's deepest chain of undersea volcanoes. Climate. The islands of the Caribbean enjoy a warm, tropical climate, which means that the weather is usually hot and damp. The temperature doesn't change much between the hottest and coolest months. The temperature is usually around 82 degrees in July and around 75 degrees in January. So, instead of a winter and a summer season, the Caribbean has a dry season from November to April, and then a hotter, wet season from May to October. Almost all the rain for the year falls in the wet season. Tropical storms and hurricanes are a danger in the Caribbean. Storms frequently hit the coast between June and October. Hurricanes are huge storms up to 600 miles across with strong winds of 75 to 200 miles per hour. Dangerous winds can extend 200 miles out from the center of the hurricane. Each hurricane usually lasts for over a week, moving 10 to 20 miles per hour over the open ocean. Hurricanes rotate in a counterclockwise direction around and the center of the storm or the eye. The eye is the calmest part with only light winds. When hurricanes come onto land, the heavy rain, strong winds, and large waves can cause a lot of damage to property and can be dangerous to people and animals. There are at least 19 active, likely to erupt again, volcanoes in the Caribbean. While Montserrat's Soufriere Hills volcano is the only one in the region that is currently erupting, the volcano known to have erupted most frequently this century is Kikumjini, an undersea volcano north of Grenada. Kikumjini is known to have erupted at least 11 times since it was first identified in 1939. Now, boys and girls, you are going to complete a 1.5 sheet reading response over what you just read. The first question says, what is an archipelago? So you're going to go back to the reading and fill in the answer for that. What are the 3 main groups of islands? What are coral reefs made of? And under the climate section, how is climate in November different from the climate in May? And then what is the eye of a hurricane? If you notice here, I'm going to scroll back up just a little bit. You have these boxes here, okay, that are before and after. Before you read, I want you to write whether you think the statement is true or false, and then after you read, then you confirm your prediction in each section. Now, once again, you do not have to listen to the reading. I know, again, some students like to go ahead and read themselves, so you are more than welcome to do that. So good luck today on learning more about the Caribbean, our island neighbors.